More reading. Only one to go this month from the Science of Mind magazine, The Daily Guides, with Rev Ron Fox. I think his readings, or his writings, I should say, have been pretty much down to earth and not really needed much unpacking. Sometimes I've disagreed with him, sometimes not. But by and large, the disagreements have been small. The main message has been pretty good throughout the month, actually. Besides being a minister and a mediator and lots of other things, I'm also an engineer. And one thing I learned was something called Occam's razor, which says the simplest solution is usually the best, which to me means if a reading is pretty clear and doesn't need much explanation, I am not going to go deliberate on it because it's straightforward. And I think today's is quite straightforward, actually. So here we go. It's called Focus on Gratitude. Focus on Gratitude. First quote is from Scott Peck. Everything that happens to us in life does so to make us more holy. Everything that happens in life to us does so to make us more holy. My interpretation of that is when he talks about holy, makes us more whole. As a person, as a being, it makes us more whole. And Ernest Holmes says, when the time comes that nothing goes forth from you other than that which you would be glad to have in return, then you will have reached your heaven. And that is pretty smart when you think about it. So whatever happens, whatever you give out, you'll be glad that it came back. So to me, it says the next time I'm thinking about criticizing somebody, would I want this to come back to me? Critique, yes. Criticism, no, for instance. And that was from This Thing Called You on page 21. And Eric Butterworth, I guess Ron Fox likes Eric Butterworth. He's quoted from him quite a bit, quoted from Bob Proctor a few times as well. Eric Butterworth writes, Thanksgiving is not just a reactionary emotion. It's a causative energy. So in other words, when we are grateful for something, then it actually causes good things to happen to us. God doesn't care if we give thanks, but it makes a big difference to us. It's a state of consciousness that keeps us in tune with the divine flow. A grateful mind attracts things for which to be grateful. When we practice gratitude consistently, it consistently becomes more beneficial. The more we focus on gratitude, the more we have to be grateful for. Gratitude can even affect our health and our relationships. Toni Longtalk writes that every evening she asks herself, what inspired me today? What did I take for granted? Who supported me along the way? What advantages have I received in my life? And writer Irma Bombeck, who had surgery for breast cancer, said she was depressed and angry. She cried all the time. When her doctor saw how depressed she was, he reminded her how fortunate she was. Her cancer was caught early. Otherwise, she might not have been so lucky. After that, she began to appreciate the power of gratitude. She wrote, every time I forget to feel grateful, I hear the voice of an 8-year-old named Christian who had cancer of the nervous system. When asked what she wanted for her birthday, she thought long and hard and said, I don't know. I have 2 sticker books and a Cabbage Patch doll. I have everything. The kid was right. So the message here is obvious that when we focus on being grateful for what we have right now, we send that energy out into the universe, into the universal subjective, if you like, and it invariably attracts stuff back to us that's good. So it's a pretty simple message. Is it true? Well, I suggest try it and see what happens. Try being grateful. In fact, when you're waking up in the morning, and this is to me as well as you, okay, let's do this. When we're waking up in the morning, let's think of 3 things for which we're grateful. And when we go to bed at night, let's think of another 3 things for which we're grateful. And then when things happen during the day, consciously remember to be grateful. It isn't easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But I'll tell you this, once you get in the habit of being grateful, then gratitude flows. So it's really a question of building up a habit of being grateful for what goes on in life. You know, my wife has got a good attitude when it comes to driving. You know, we'll come along and somebody will cut in front of us, or we'll be in a big line of traffic. We get slowed down. We have to be somewhere. We give ourselves enough time, but I'm impatient. I always like to get there as soon as I can. Or we miss a light. This is the key one. When we miss a light and we have to wait there. Around here, that's usually a 2-minute deal, the way they got the light system set up. And she'll say, you know, we could have avoided being in an accident because that light changed to red and made us wait for 2 minutes. So be grateful for the red light that came on. So once again, it's a simple message, but it's a really worthwhile one. Gratitude is really something that changes how we look at life. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm grateful because I just completed a mediation which involved 16 people, including myself. It was a Child Protective Services mediation, and we ended up settling the thing, and we signed a document, and everybody was at least grateful that we settled it and we signed it. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful anytime a mediation works out and we get a signed document. So affirmations, plural. Today, I set the intention to live a life of gratitude, which is what we've just been talking about, right? I recognize that my life is a gift and I'm surrounded by Spirit's beauty. Spirit's beauty in all its essences, not just like physical beauty, but beauty of all kinds. Beauty of music, beauty of being able to take a nap if you can, beauty of just looking at the greenery, looking at our cats as they usually just hang around. Cats, you know, they're pretty lazy, right? And then how about this one? There's nothing I lack. My life is whole and complete. So take your pick. Take your pick from those. Yep, I should hopefully be back tomorrow around about 5 o'clock. My colleague, Reverend Lisa, will be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page at about 9:15 in the morning. I don't know if my colleague, practitioner Daniel Mercadal, was on at noonish, but I know she'll be on sometime today. And that will also be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. And as I said, I'll be back tomorrow. So, and remember, if you need something like prayer, whatever it is, let us know. And we will pray for you. That's what we are. We are, part of our life is to pray for other people and ourselves. So prayer is part of what we do. So until next time, namaste.